The second way to make money that I stumbled onto was placing tiny classified ads in the newspaper. If you create and test one tiny classified ad in the newspaper that makes just $30 to $40 profit in a week, it could make you a fortune. Because the secret is learning how to take that one tiny classified ad that just made $30 to $40 profit in a week, and to realize that you can now take that same exact ad and place it in up to 3,000 other newspapers around the country. That's what
Welcome to the podcast, which is all about the world of marketing on television through TV shopping networks and infomercials. Are we on the air? I'm your host, Sean Wilsey, and for over 30 years I've hosted shows on cable shopping networks, and now I want to be your guide into this world as we look at the ever-changing nature of these industries. And this is my first, I don't want to say award show, but best of or top 5 show, where I pick out, in my opinion, the top 5 best pitchmen of all time on television. These are all infomercial-based personalities here, because there's a lot that goes into being a good pitchman, and who do I think are the best? And there's a big asterisk on the best for reasons that will become obvious as I start this countdown. Because for some reason people like my opinions, and so I want to be able to just explain, and I will explain why I've selected each one of these for the best of all-time television pitchmen. I shouldn't just say infomercials, because there's, as you'll see, it's going to kind of cross categories here. And I've got a couple honorable mentions as well. But let's just start the countdown. We're going to start the countdown at number 5, and I've debated 50 times whether I want to even have this person on the list or not, but got to be fair, whether you like the individual or not, they made a lasting impression on the world of television infomercials and even TV shopping networks when they made their foray into that. And that, it is number 5, best, air quotes, pitchman, goes to Kevin Trudeau. And I know. Go back and listen to some of the past shows, and you'll see why I reluctantly, but I do have to acknowledge that the man has more lives than a cat. He started on television in 1993. It is now, as we record this, 2024. He has been in and out of jail. He has lost court cases. He has had FTC fines. He has had the FTC telling him what he can't do. The man finds ways around it every single time. And I literally, 30 minutes ago, and I'm not kidding, I got kind of sick to my stomach when I saw what he's doing now. But I'm going to get to that. Because the man started with, his mega memory program. And he was selling, I think there were cassettes at the time on how to improve your memory. And he did this very successfully. And then he got involved in all kinds of other things, including multi-level marketing. And his claims and the things he was presenting started to get a lot more skeptical. Dietary supplements, health aids, baldness remedies, addiction treatments, all these things that eventually the FTC said, yeah, okay. And he was fined in 1998. In 2004, he settled a contempt of court action arising out of some cases. And the FTC told him, listen, you can't do this on TV anymore. But they knew that they'd get in trouble with the First Amendment if they kept him from doing books. And so that's when he started going on TV, pitching books about what they, and it was always in air quotes, natural cures they don't want you to know about. And then more natural cures revealed, and these were all pitched on TV in infomercials. Weight loss cures they, again in air quotes, don't want you to know about. Debt cures they don't want you to know about. And finally, he lost a court case that had him in jail. And he just got out of jail fairly recently, 2022, I think it was, when he lost a case. He's had so many court cases, honestly, I can't remember. because he would continue to sell the books. And so I believe it was like a violation. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison for, it was contempt. That's right, was finally why he wound up in jail. Anyway, and so the man has had a life on television selling, and the reason he gets the number 5 spot is people still follow him. Even after he started to get into trouble, there's something about his personality that people trust. He goes on TV. He makes his case for weight loss cures they don't want you to know about. People continued to trust him. Nobody bothered to do their homework, do their research. I don't know. But somehow he has managed to have more lives than a cat. And this is what I just found out. And I almost predicted this in a past show. He now has a YouTube channel. Of course he does. With the Kevin Trudeau Show. And on it, he has topics. Well, let me just read some of these. Let's see. This started actually very recently here. So, Kevin Trudeau Show, episode 1. Everything, and this is only 14 seconds, so I guess kind of setting the stage. Everything they, in air quotes, don't want you to know about. Another episode, the solution to the decline of society. Next one, why isn't it easier for people to immigrate to other countries legally? ? Next one, you are being lied to everywhere, even in alternative media. Next one, the case against Trump, guilty before trial. Next one, how do presidents get away with everything? Next one, and now's where he starts to get into, I think, his new groove. The truth about secret societies. Not in air quotes, the truth. Self-realized master explains oneness. So now he's explaining oneness. Then this is the one that got my interest. What they taught me in the Brotherhood. Secret society. So he's getting into all the secret society stuff. And I don't know. This is, from what I can tell, it's getting into almost, as I predicted earlier, kind of like this Scientology sort of thing. Here's just a little clip. I haven't potted up. Here we go.
It's almost 2,000 pages. 2,008.5 by 11 pages, front and back. That's the course. You can't buy it. I don't sell it. It's available only to Global Information Network members. When you become a member, you get access to the training.
Now, Global Information Network, we exposed on a past show. It's one of his companies. So he's not selling it, but his company is selling this 2,000-page course. And he explains it. And again, if you know anything at all, if you've ever read anything about Scientology and their courses and their classes, this really sounds like, I think he's ripped off a bunch of their sort of things and put it into this book that he's selling. So, and anyway, God bless him. I can't deny, again, Snake, I can't stand the man. Watching my words, but because he has more lives than a cat, as I've said now for the 3rd time, and people still follow him, they buy from him, I can't deny that he deserves to be on the list of influential, maybe not necessarily best pitchmen, but influential pitchmen ever. Number 4 on the list, I'm going to play some audio here first, see, because there's probably a generation of people that don't even know who this person is.
If you've ever been awakened by a cold, wet nose, you know your dog has a lot of different ways to show you how he loves you. And you show your love lots of ways, too. One of the nicest, from your dog's point of view, is by feeding him Alpo, just like this. There you go, Sam. Okay, Alpo Beef Chunks Dinner. Alpo has something that most dog foods don't have.
That, for those that don't know, is Ed McMahon doing a live commercial for Alpo, as during most of the years of The Tonight Show, he did a live commercial. In fact, he would do a number of live. Alpo's the one he's best known for. He would do a lot of live commercials. The role of the announcer in the early days of television was not just to, here's Johnny, introduce the host, but was also to be the pitchman and would come out and would do live commercials. Ed, through his entire career, his entire life was on television pitching one thing or another. In the 80s, you might recognize him for this.
Where can you win $1 million?
American Family.
$2 million?
American Family.
$10 million. Only from American Family. 3 grand prizes, folks. You may already be the winner of $1 million, $2 million, even $10 million. I will personally start awarding these giant prizes just 3 months from now. So watch your mail for the envelope with my picture. $10 million. All for you.
The man had the opposite of Kevin Trudeau. He had a trustworthiness. He had a sincerity. If Ed McMahon pitched a product, you knew it was a good product. You didn't doubt for a second. The man obviously loved his Budweiser. He was probably one of the most famous pitchmen for that. And now here's a guy who actually got his start on the boardwalk in Atlantic City. This is true. He actually put himself through college as a pitchman on the Atlantic City boardwalk. Now, the Atlantic City boardwalk back then had pitchmen for things like vegetable slicers, kind of like you would still have at the State Fair today. You go to the merchandise mart of the State Fair, there's still someone there selling ShamWows and doing the old school pitch, which I love. I love watching those people. And I'm a sucker for them too. So, but that is kind of how a lot of the original pitchmen started. Billy Mays, I think, who's believe it or not on my list, got his start, I think, doing some of that. But that kind of died off as far as, being as prevalent as it was back in the day, as a lot of these pitchmen have been replaced with TV now. So you have to admire the fact that he's able to take that pitching skill, that selling skill, become a very successful announcer in his own right, and that's pretty much was all he did. He did the game show Concentration for a hot second, like 6 months, and then left that. Wasn't that good. So, not every announcer or pitchman is necessarily a good host. And, but yeah, so that's why I think he firmly deserves the number 4 spot on the list, just because anything he pitched, people trusted immediately. There was no doubt that if Ed McMahon backed a product, that was a good product. Number 3, again, see if you recognize, well, actually, she'll be introduced here, is the only woman on the list. And I hope that changes down the road, because there are certainly some very talented women. It's just traditionally the role of pitchmen has always been just that. It's something that men do. Nancy Nelson has been a great host for infomercials, and she has led the way. But again, Ron Popeil, because they're usually with Ron Popeil, he does most of the selling. But she, back in Minneapolis, was all over TV doing commercials back in the day. But she's the closest, I think, a woman has really come to breaking through to the pitchman standpoint, except for this one. Her name is Kathy Mitchell. You might not recognize the name, but you'll probably recognize the voice. Now, the gentleman's about to introduce her, and I can't think of his name. I know he was a host on the cable shopping network Tell Shop back in the 80s, but I can't think of his name. But he's about to introduce Kathy.
So let's welcome a familiar face, someone you've seen many times demonstrating new products on television. Here's Kathy Mitchell.
Hi, John.
Hi, Kathy. What is this amazing new product that you tell us will bake brown and crisp in the microwave?
Well, you just said it, micro crisp. This is an incredible new product for your microwave with 3 patents from one of the largest food companies in America.
That's impressive.
That's right. Well,
If you've never seen micro crisp, it looks like a roll of Reynolds wrap or Saran wrap, but it is paper that on one side is gray and on the other side is white. And the gray side is what you put against your food, with the idea being that it creates kind of like an oven for your food to bake as opposed to just get soggy. Let me play it some more.
you're probably already familiar with micro crisp if you've ever used a product like this pizza, for instance.
Oh, and she took one of the frozen pizzas, that you can do in the microwave, because they sit on a similar, kind of like a silverish tray to keep the crust from getting soggy.
You ever seen one of these little silver discs?
Well, sure, yeah.
The idea is that by placing the pizza on that disc, it eliminates that soggy microwave crust.
Good idea.
Exactly, but these kind of products are a little bit expensive. Now, Micro Crisp is available on a roll like this, and I'm going to show you how it'll change the way you think about cooking in your microwave. Now, take that apple turnover. You probably read the warning on the box that said, don't even think about putting this in the microwave. Well, I'm conducting a little experiment to show you how well Micro Crisp works. This is a specially coated paper that actually converts microwaves into thermal energy, like inside a regular oven. So when you wrap it around the food, it becomes a mini oven in your microwave.
What have you just heard? Again, she does a great setup, does a great introduction of the product, problem, solution. I don't want a soggy apple turnover. Put it in here, creates an oven, I cook it. The other reason I like her is the way she uses her voice. Is she gets the emotion through. You don't want that soggy crust. Oh, and the whatever it was, it gets kind of expensive. How a good pitchman uses their voice can have an underlying message, and she does a very good job with that. Now, the other part that I really like about her is when she's got this grandmotherly, motherly kind of appeal to her, which is trustworthy. She's not by any means, a striking beauty, but she carries herself well. And then at one point, the host steps aside so she can just basically cook.
Well, breakfast probably is the most hectic time to try to get a meal on the table. You know, I've already shown you a few examples of the stackable recipes you'll find in the cookbook. Let me show you a great breakfast idea. This is a fast, easy way to cook eggs, sausage, and biscuits all at the same time, and you don't even have to stay in the kitchen. Now, we're going to start with the eggs. Eggs are easy to cook in the microwave if you know a few tricks.
Okay, I'm just going to pot that down a little bit because what she's doing now, she's talking right to the camera, looking at the viewer, and basically putting on now a cooking show. So you forget the fact that you're watching an infomercial, except for the fact that the phone number's on the bottom of the screen, and you're watching her cook. Now, anytime there's a product demonstration, we know in the TV shopping industry, calls subside because they're watching the demonstration. So the moment you're done with your demonstration, that's when you need to do what's called a call to action. So the very second that she is done with her demonstration, and it honestly goes on a while because she does a nice little breakfast, shows how easy it is to make, then they get right into the call to action. So it's just brilliant. You can't criticize anything that this woman does. So Kathy Mitchell, firmly ensconced in number 3 on my list. I got to check one thing. Let's see. Dump cakes. That was the other thing. I knew there was something else that she became much more famous for. Again, dump cakes. But it really is the one that probably put her on the map more than the Micro Crisp did. She's been a guest on Rachel Ray's show, so she's done the talk show circuit, and so it's she really is fantastic. And I think she was also one that did product demonstrations at state fairs. So, again, the same kind of background, pitching at state fairs. I was just double-checking to see. I hate to say it, but yeah, she is still with us because I knew she was getting up there, but yeah, she is still around. So, fantastic. And she's also done the cable shopping circuit. Number two on my list. Love this guy. And again, I mentioned Billy Mays wasn't on there for a number of reasons, and I'm not going to go into them all. This guy was very well associated with Billy Mays and is, I think, just kind of, man, I could have put him as number 1, and you'll see why in a moment. But firm number 2 on my list.
Hi, Anthony Sullivan here for the incredible Go Duster. The spinning duster. Hi, Anthony Sullivan here for Shuffles. Double trouble for dirty floors. Wear Shuffles on your feet to easily clean all floor surfaces. Kitchen, living room, bathroom, even steps and stairs. Unlike the fuss of feathering.
Anytime you hear that, hi, Anthony. Oh, I'm sorry, a couple more.
Anthony Sullivan here for the Grill Glove. The heat-resistant cooking glove that puts the power of the grill in the palm of your hand.
These are all Anthony Sullivan starting the same way. And this is what I love that he does. It's hi, Anthony Sullivan. When you have name recognition like that, you get it out there immediately. Boom, done. And then he does the quickest little summation of what the item is. Let me just go back in, because it was hard to hear because I started playing so many at once. It didn't quite work out like I thought it was going to, but here.
Have you got a drawer full of knives that are about as dull as a doorstop?
Hi, Anthony Sullivan here for the Edge of Glory. The best knife sharpener money can buy. It's so precise, it'll turn this plastic credit card into a precision cutting instrument.
He does this quick little, problem solution.
Resistant cooking glove that puts the power of the grill in the palm of your hand.
A phrase that's going to stick with you. Power of the grill in the palm of your hand. I mean, the man is it's everything he does is brilliant. He finds good products, by the way, demonstrable products by and large, meaning something where there's a live demonstration. And the man knows his stuff. He really, even though he's not the inventor, he knows the products inside and out, and that comes across. And again, he has that trustworthiness, which is why he starts off with his name. It's like, okay, Anthony Sullivan is endorsing this product. I can believe in the quality of it. Maybe I've purchased something from Anthony Sullivan before. It's like, oh, Anthony's got a new product. I've got to see what that is. And so there's that instant connection that it's going to be a quality product. What was this? Oh, this one I found it. I hadn't even seen this one.
For dirty floors. Wear Shuffles on your feet to easily clean all floor surfaces. Kitchen, living room, bathroom,
you put it on your feet
steps and
to
stairs.
dust.
Unlike your regular mop, Shuffles foot mops give you the power of 2. There's no rubbing, scrubbing, or bending over. Mopping with rags or towels can be clumsy and messy.
Again, and he produces a lot of his own infomercials, which again is why they're well produced. He knows what sells. He knows visually what to do. So I'm always very impressed. Oh, I've got one more, Anthony. Let's play this.
Anthony Sullivan here for McDonald's new signature crafted recipes.
What?
Sandwiches with the exquisitely exquisite flavors of pico guacamole, maple bacon Dijon, or sweet barbecue bacon. But when savoring these recipes, there's a hitch you just can't ditch.
Uh-oh.
The topping dropping.
Oh.
This is a real problem.
Yes, it is.
Wait, sorry. Is this a real problem?
What's the solution?
Probably not. But good news. We solved it anyway with the flavor-focused, fundamentally superfluous frog. So you can pick up all the pico guacamole, save your bacon with sweet maple seasoning.
What it is, this obviously, it's a parody McDonald's has done, and it's brilliant. Brilliant. It's on social media. Maybe you've seen it. They took a piece of plastic, made it look like a fork, but in the ends, they stuck 3 French fries. And so he's showing how to clean up the delicious sauces from these new burgers. I saw this, and again, all I could do was just say brilliant, 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 with a word I won't use in front of brilliant, because it is. To get Anthony Sullivan to do this, so it shows he can laugh at himself, too, that he doesn't take himself too seriously. I can't stand that in people. So the fact that he's doing this for McDonald's, it's on YouTube. You can find it, and I'm sure it's on their other social media. And I'm just going to play this last bit of it because it is so brilliant.
And we'll also maybe do some other stuff like this here, and right here.
And there's graphics that come up saying, get a free fork with purchase of a signature crafted recipe. Our first 100 callers get a free sandwich and a free fork. And it's brilliant promotion. And obviously they're hoping that'll go viral. I don't know if it will or not. 2 quick honorable mentions before I get to the winner of number 1 pitch person of all time. Bear with me. I have so much audio queued up here. I'm just trying to get through these. Okay. Here is and sadly, these next 2 are no longer with us, but they do deserve an honorable mention.
What will you ask me?
I've been waiting to talk to you.
Oh, bless you.
Because I know you got something to tell me.
I see a card of police documentation and then someone watching you very closely, all right?
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I can't believe that you can see that.
Who are all these other older men around you? Do you have a lot of men in your family?
Yes, my grandmother had 6 sons.
You're really afraid at night, honey.
I am.
Miss Cleo, for those that don't know, because again, these infomercials ran in the late 90s, early 2000s. There were a ton of these psychic reader network, psychic hotlines that people would call. And, the whole sad premise is just to keep people on the lines. It was a 900 number, 976, whatever. And the longer they were on the phone, then the more money that call was going to cost. And it was sadly a very successful sort of, scam, let's call it what it is, that doesn't exist anymore, thankfully. Although I should say, I'm sure there's someone out there somewhere doing Psychic Friends Network or something in some form and still making money. But she actually was maybe the most famous, and she's, again, someone else who didn't take herself too seriously. And she actually did believe in the tarot. So she was a tarot reader before she ever got hooked up with the Psychic Readers Network, whichever one that she was on, and she kind of became their most famous spokesperson. She was another one that would kind of do the talk show circuit at the time, too. And when you become the one that others are spoofing, SNL or, what was the Fox show? In Living Color did some great spoofs of her, and so she's got to get a mention. Again, sadly, she passed away from cancer a few years ago, but she was always good fun to listen. She'd go on, I think it was Howard Stern every once in a while, right? Hear her, and she was always a good interview. And so I have to admire her just for being who she was. And the other one I have to admire, this again goes back to the 90s. Let me just play the audio.
Everything you see, vending boxes. We got 2 of those. There's 1,000 cards. Do you know what I figured out? 1, 2, see. 700, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 7, 77, 84, 91, 98, 10,005, 11,5. Holy cow! Approximately 13,000 cards for $199. Approximately 13,000 cards. Now I am going to get a calculator out.
Don West. Man, again, just sad that we lost him just about a year ago. And that was a loss because the man took a small network called Shop at Home in the 1990s and only did overnights and made them a household name. Every college student in that era was watching it. You've got to know you're doing something when SNL, again, is spoofing you, because it was. Shop at Home was a blip on the radar in the grand scheme of the TV shopping universe, except overnights. They would go on local stations in a lot of cases, and apparently they were huge in New York City. And that's where they got the attention of writers for Saturday Night Live and spoofed it. If you had never seen his show, you didn't understand the sketch at all. But it was... This is how huge he was. I was working overnights at Shop NBC at the time. Maybe, no, we would have been Value Vision back then. And he was our competition, and our sales suffered because of it. We didn't know what to do, because all the eyes that were up at that hour were on Shop at Home. I shouldn't say all the eyes, the male eyes. Women we knew that we had because we could do jewelry successfully, and that's it. But electronics or anything a guy would want, forget it. We couldn't do it because they were all watching him. And then eventually Shop at Home, again, new management comes in. Oh, we've got better ideas, and, kills it. And he wound up in the world of wrestling or something. Anyway, all-time number one, greatest pitchman. Here you go.
If they call right now, they get the smart mop, and not one, but two replacement heads, and 3 smart wipes. 1, 2, and 3. Let's see, that's almost a $60 value and almost 5 years of easy mopping, all for $29.95.
That's right, Susan.
Well, I think they better get on the phones and order smart mop right now.
Yeah, no. Obviously, I'm kidding. Ugh. I still want to find the whole half hour. I need to find that whole thing somewhere. I know I have it on a videotape somewhere. But I don't have a VCR anymore, so... Oh, worst ever. I need to do worse next time. And it's between her and the Hulk Hogan one. Anyway, but no. And I'm not even going to play a ton of audio for the person who definitely deserves the best pitchman of all time, because we just did on the last podcast, and that's Ron Popeil. Easily, without a doubt, the absolute best of all time. You can watch his footage on YouTube, and I just played a bunch on the last show, so that's why I'm not going to repeat it all. But it's just, the man was consistent. He was an inventor. He was smart. He was beyond smart. He was brilliant, and he got involved in every last part of it. Go back and find the podcast where I interview Steve Bryant about working with Ron Popeil, because he goes into great detail about all the rehearsals and all the time that went into it. It's just... It's that kind of dedication that paid off for him, figuratively and as well as just emotionally. So there is no better. There will never be any better than Ron Popeil. His type was him. That was it. There has never been another one even close to him. So that's why it's an easy number one, Ron Popeil. His dedication to the craft, to creating, and quality products, too. He didn't just create junk, with some of his stuff, $9 and $19 stuff that you bought at the drugstore back in the day. Yeah, but he still put his heart and soul into it and produced quality products that nobody else has ever been able to live up to the name, the reputation, and I think that's the other thing, is the reputation. So easily the top pitchman of all time, and I promise to delete that audio of that woman, so we never have to hear her again. And also, I do have to acknowledge Suzanne Summers for all that she did during her life for infomercials, and we've told that story before, taking the Thigh Master, which was an arm exerciser, and all of a sudden now it's thighs only, and it's off the chart successful. So, I could go on and on with Jack LaLanne. With his juicers. His whole exercise show was selling product. When he was doing his exercise show in the daytime in the 60s and 70s to the housewives that were at home, he was selling rubber bands that they used to stretch and little devices in. So he was constantly selling and pitching. But these, I think, for good or ill, are the top 5. And I in a way, hate the fact that Kevin Trudeau made the list, but he did. So anyway, don't hold that against me. Please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss a show. Love your reviews, too. Please leave a 5-star review. And you can listen to the archive of past shows, Apple, Spotify, all the podcast apps. Check them out on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Sean Wilsey, and on Instagram, S. Wilsey. Thank you for downloading this edition of our We On The Air. This has been a King Bobby production.
Yes, I know, Travis. That's why we give such bargains.